Right to the site. Welcome in CBS Sports college basketball writer Cameron Salerno, who joins us from Crypto.com Arena in L.A. Cameron, what a performance it was for Alabama in the second half from beyond the arc. What did you see from the Tide there as they were able to rally against Clemson?
Mark Sears was incredible in the second half. I mean, he had a very uncharacteristic game through the first 20 minutes of action. I believe he missed his first 6 shots. And he just really struggled to find a rhythm. But you saw in that second half, he really got hot, hit 6 3-pointers. He looked like the All-American guard that he is. And how about the contribution from Jaron Stevenson? He's a freshman at Alabama, was a highly touted recruit coming out of high school. He grew up very close to Chapel Hill, and his first offer coming out of high school was North Carolina. And so how cool is it for him to not only beat North Carolina, his home school in the Sweet 16, but go on in the Elite Eight and have the best game of his career in Alabama's biggest game in program history.
Cameron, we're going to celebrate this Alabama Final Four appearance, the first in school history. But you know the next question is, how do they match up against the mighty monster that is UConn? What chances, because you watch college basketball all season long, you cover it for us, what chances do you give Alabama against UConn? A less than 10% chance? I would say probably less than 5, but what say you?
I will say, I know this may be, unpopular, but Alabama does have some sort of way to beat UConn. We've seen super teams go down the Final Four. Look at Kentucky, who looked unbeatable, and then they lost to Wisconsin in the Final Four. UConn is a juggernaut. They are the biggest threat to repeat as national champion in almost 2 decades. They are extremely well coached. They have an All-American guard themselves in Tristan Newton. They have shooting galore. They can score. They have the second highest scoring margin in the entire country and first out of all Power 6 teams. If Alabama is going to beat UConn and pull the upset, they're going to need to rely on their offense. I know over the last 3 games, Alabama's defense has been good. And this is a unit on paper that ranks in the bottom 30 in the nation in scoring defense. So in order to beat UConn, their offense is going to have to show up. And if Mark Sears plays like he did in the first half, Alabama is not going to have a strong chance to beat UConn. But if the second half version of Mark Sears shows up, and Alabama's contributors make 3-pointers like they did tonight, like Jaron Stevenson, they do have a chance. And I know they're going to be UConn is going to be heavily favored. But I think if any team kind of matches up stylistically, at least on offense, it's Alabama.
Well, there is a recipe. Alabama is 19-1 this season, scoring more than 89 points. That one loss was to the team you mentioned, Kentucky, who got knocked out in the first round against Oakland. And Kentucky and UConn, as you know, are nothing alike. There's experience on the UConn team. The Kentucky team is young. UConn plays way better defense. They make way better moves to the ball. I mean, you know what Kentucky and UConn is. Now, that could have been an amazing championship between UConn and Kentucky, 2 contrasting styles. Alabama likes to beat you with a 3. UConn can play whatever game you want to play. I mean, you've seen it.
That result was stunning. I took the Metro to downtown LA to cover this game, and I left around halftime, so I was like, I had 15 minutes. I checked the score, and Illinois was up by 20, and it just was unreal what UConn can do. It's hard to think of a college team in recent memory that's just been so dominant. I know they had a few losses in Big East play, and they lost to Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse in December. But they can beat you in so many different ways. And I think the most impressive part about UConn is it's not that they're just winning games by 5 or 6 points. They're winning games by double digits, 20, 25, 30 points. I mean, they beat San Diego State by 30 points, and that was a team who looked formidable and looked like, they would have a chance to play better in the second time facing them after losing them in the championship game last year. So I just will say UConn is a juggernaut, and Alabama's going to have to play the best game on offense and defense to pull the upset.
Well, on this night, Alabama gets to celebrate its first Final Four appearance in school history. Best of luck to them in Phoenix. Anything can happen. I will be the first to tell you that. It's the NCAA tournament. Crazy things happen. Upsets happen. You never know. We wait to see how it all will go down in Phoenix. Cameron Salerno joining us from L.A., where Alabama advances to its first Final Four in school history. Cameron, thanks.
Thank you.
And let's stay right there in Los Angeles. Clemson at the podium. Let's listen in.
Yeah, first